If you're serious about history that actually mattered to survival, this is where I ask you to subscribe, because what we're about to cover is one of the most overlooked systems ever engineered under pressure. During the Cold War, governments didn't just plan for bombs and borders. They planned for hunger, silence, and months underground. Bunker agriculture wasn't theory or science fiction. It was operational, funded, tested, and in some cases quietly maintained for decades. Today, I want to walk you through how it worked, why it mattered, and how its lessons still apply if you care about real food security rather than hobby gardening. When people think of Cold War bunkers, they picture steel doors, concrete corridors, and maps on walls. What they rarely picture is food being grown under artificial light, recycled air, and total government control. Yet, from the late 1940s through the 1980s, multiple nations invested in controlled environment agriculture designed to function during nuclear winter scenarios. These systems were not designed for comfort. They were designed to keep key personnel alive, functional, and loyal when surface agriculture collapsed. The logic behind bunker agriculture was brutally simple. Stockpiles alone could not sustain long-term occupancy. Even the best-preserved rations degrade, run out, or fail nutritionally. Governments realized that calories without fresh vitamins would cripple bunker populations within months. The answer was continuous food production underground, tightly regulated, standardized, and optimized for predictability rather than taste. Light was the first problem to solve. Long before modern LEDs, Cold War planners relied on fluorescent and high-intensity discharge lighting. Crops were selected based on how efficiently they converted artificial light into edible mass. Leafy greens, fast-growing herbs and compact vegetables dominated planning documents. Wheat and grains were tested, but often abandoned due to space inefficiency. Sprouts, cress, lettuce, spinach, and algae-based protein systems became serious contenders. In the Soviet Union, chlorella algae was studied extensively as a protein and oxygen source, with pilot programs running inside sealed facilities. Water was never wasted. Closed-loop hydroponic systems were favoured because, well, soil introduced pathogens and required more volume. Nutrient solutions were carefully measured, recycled and monitored. Condensation from air systems was captured and reused. Human waste, once treated, was fed back into nutrient cycles. This wasn't ecological idealism, it was enforced efficiency. Every input had to serve multiple roles, or it was eliminated. Air management tied agriculture directly to life support. Plants weren't just food producers, they were biological air scrubbers. Carbon dioxide from human respiration fed plant growth, while oxygen output stabilized bunker atmospheres. This symbiosis reduced reliance on mechanical scrubbers, which could fail under prolonged operation. Some bunker designs deliberately oversized plant sections for air redundancy rather than food output, showing just how central agriculture became to survival engineering. Labor inside these systems was tightly controlled. Bunker agriculture wasn't voluntary gardening. Rotations were scheduled, training was standardized, and yields were logged like military supplies. In East Germany and the USSR, agricultural technicians were part of civil defense planning, with manuals outlining crop cycles during different alert stages. During heightened readiness, fresh food consumption could be reduced to prioritize seed stock and system stability. Control always came before morale. What makes this relevant now is not nostalgia or paranoia, but methodology. These systems prove that food security does not depend on sunlight, land ownership, or climate stability. It depends on control of inputs, redundancy, and discipline. You can apply this today on a small scale without a bunker. A spare room, basement, or insulated shed can replicate the fundamentals. Start with fast-growing greens under artificial light. Use hydroponics to reduce water use. Monitor nutrients instead of guessing. Treat airflow as part of the system, not an afterthought. The Cold War lesson is that food systems fail when they rely on assumptions instead of measurement. Another overlooked element was seed sovereignty. Governments stored massive seed libraries underground, often separate from food bunkers. These seeds were periodically regenerated within controlled environments to maintain viability. This ensured long-term recovery capability after surface agriculture collapse. Modern preppers often miss this step. Growing food means nothing if you can't restart the system after one failure. Maintaining seed stock under controlled conditions is as important as growing the crop itself. Psychological management also shaped bunker agriculture. Fresh food wasn't just nutrition, it was a morale tool. Even minimal green growth reduced stress and maintained routine. Governments understood that a functioning bunker population needed structure, purpose, and small reminders of normalcy. That insight remains valuable. Food systems that engage people mentally are more resilient than those treated as emergency-only measures. Cold War bunker agriculture was never about self-sufficiency in the romantic sense. It was about managed dependence. The state controlled light, water, seeds, labour, and distribution. Survival was conditional. That uncomfortable truth is why this topic matters. It shows that food security and power are inseparable. Whoever controls production controls endurance. If you're studying history to extract usable knowledge rather than trivia, this is a field worth revisiting deeply. These systems were built under worst-case assumptions and tested accordingly. Strip away the ideology and you're left with hard-earned lessons about resilience, efficiency, and planning under pressure. If this kind of serious historical analysis matters to you, subscribe to Iron Age Instincts, share this with someone who thinks preparedness starts and ends with a pantry, and keep digging into the forgotten systems that actually kept people alive.